Hey everybody, so this is the Tuesday trig ratio video, and basically it's just for one problem, and that problem is on page 10, and it's a problem that you definitely need to know for the next test, which remember is on the 31st. So hopefully you guys are all watching this with your partners. Hopefully if you are using your phones, you're using it for good and not sitting around just talking. Like, it's very important that you guys know how to do this. Remember that there is going to be a checkpoint on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Alright, so it says here, sketch a right triangle with a 32-degree angle and one side length of 12 units. Find all other unknown sides and angles. So you should know that the word triangle means 3 angles, and it also means 3 sides. Remember, sides are on the outside and angles are on the inside. So I'm going to do 2 different problems. You go to daddy. Go to daddy. I'm going to be talking to my daughter the whole time I'm doing this, sorry. I'm using her iPad because my phone's out of storage. So, okay, so I'm going to do 2 different triangles just to show you how we can do this problem 2 different ways. I'm going to do one set of work in this box and another set of work in this box. Please copy as much as you can, because all I'll really have time to do on Wednesday after the checkpoint is really go over how to do this problem before we get into the word problems on page 10. Okay, so if they say that you're sketching a triangle with a 32-degree angle, remember all angles are on the inside. So that 32 has to go on the inside of your triangle. So I'm going to put 32 in the same spot. Okay? I'm going to put it there. Because if they ask you to draw 3 different triangles, put your angle in the same spot, because where you put that one side length, that's, really what's going to change your problem. And as a matter of fact, I could actually draw a 3rd triangle, but I'm only going to do 2. But I could draw a 3rd triangle because I could put that X on any of these 3 sides. But keep your angle in the same place. Alright, so for the first triangle, I'm going to have X here. And for the second triangle, I'm going to have X here. So we're going to be solving for a few things. We're going to be solving for X. I'll call this, I want to call it different than Y. So X, W, and V. Okay, I'm just making up these letters. That's not always going to happen. But we're going to be solving for all of these letters, and then we're also going to be solving, and I'm going to call this A. We're also going to be solving for A, which is the angle. So by the time we're done, we're going to have 4 different answers. And then here we can do the same thing. We'll be solving for W, V, and A. So we'll be solving for 3 different answers as well. Okay, the easiest thing to solve for is A, because you did that before. That's triangle sum rule. So you would say A plus 90 plus 32 equals 180. It's your triangle sum rule, so that's pretty easy. A plus 122 equals 180 minus 122. A is equal to 57 degrees. That answer will be the same as here because the 32 is in the same spot. So that would be the same answer here. A will be equal to 57. Okay. Forgive me if I write super small. I'm going to be doing 3 pieces of work in this small space. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to solve for X because that's that one angle. And instead of X being there, they actually told me to call that one side that I chose 12. So I'm going to put a 12 there, which is good because that means that I'll only have to solve for 2 sides. Okay, so here they told me to make one of the sides 12, so that was where I had x. Alright, so I have choices. So I have to solve for w, and I have to solve for v. And we can use SOHCAHTOA for both. Okay? So, w, as you can see, is right next to 32, so it would be adjacent. So w is adjacent. And then I have to use the 12. The 12 is opposite. And that means that the v is hypotenuse. So if I'm solving for w and I'm using the 12, that means I'm using adjacent and opposite, which means I'm using tangent. And because I don't have room, I'm not going to write the formula. I'm just going to write tangent of 32 equals opposite, which is 12, over adjacent, which is w.
No, leave it here. Leave it. Don't
So remember, when the variable's in the denominator, we're going to switch and divide. So w equals 12 divided by the tangent of 32. Bless you. That was my husband. Okay, and then in your calculator, remember I told you use my calculator. You would find 12 divided by the tangent of 32. If you try to use your iPhone, it's not going to work because you guys don't know how to put it into your iPhone.
Okay, we'll put it back.
But when you put it into my calculator, you get 19.20.
Be a good girl and put it back.
Okay, so w is equal to 19.20. Now remember, I told you we have to solve for three things: w, v, and a. Okay? So we just solved for w. Now we're going to solve for v. Now remember, you should use the 12 because that was given to us.
Don't do that.
So that means we'll be using opposite and hypotenuse. Who uses opposite and hypotenuse?
Don't do that,
Sine. Okay, so we're still going to use this 32-degree angle. Sine of 32 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of 32 equals 12 over what we called v. And as you can see, it's going to be the same setup as the last problem. But instead of tangent being in the denominator, now it's sine. And that's 32. I know you may not be able to see it, but that's 32. So in your calculator, you're going to put 12 divided by sine of 32. And make sure that your calculators are in degree mode. When you turn off my calculators and put them to charge, it doesn't stay on degree mode. So make sure that it's on degree mode. So you should have 22.64. So now if you did this right, you should have 3 angles, and I have 3 angles. And when I do this, I like to list all my angles and then list all my sides. Unfortunately, I don't have the room to do that, but I like to say sides and be able to list all 3, and then I write angles and list all 3. So I'll show you that. Maybe I can show you that with this problem. But if you count, we have 1, 2, 3 sides and 1, 2, 3 angles, because remember the right angle is an angle. Alright, next problem we have here is 12 is now at the bottom instead of being on the left. So 12 is now adjacent. V is still hypotenuse. And now W, instead of being adjacent, W is now opposite. So our setup is going to be different than up here. So if we're solving for, let's say, W, then we're going to be using tangent again. But the difference is, instead of your W being in the denominator, because the opposite is W, W is going to be on top. So this is your setup.
No, Mommy.
Tangent of 32 equals W over 12. So remember, that means cross multiply. So you're going to be cross multiplying this. Okay, sorry guys, my daughter is all over me. She's bored. So if you hear me yell. Alright, so 12 times the tangent of 32 is 7.498. So 49 becomes 50. If you put 7.49, of course, you know I'll take that even though I don't want to. Alright, so last question is we need to solve for V. We're going to be using adjacent because the 12 was given to us, and hypotenuse. Who uses adjacent and hypotenuse? That would be cosine. Do you hear her? Do you hear her in the background? She's driving me crazy. Okay. Go somewhere. So we have the cosine of 32 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So it equals 12 over V. So we're going to solve it just like these two at the top. Okay, switch these two. And we have V equals 12 over the cosine of 32. And that's going to give us our last side for this problem. Now, some of you are probably like, I have no idea what she's doing. Why is she doing this twice? Because the location of the 12 changes the problem. So if you put 12 on the left, this is how you would solve it. If you put 12 on the bottom, this is how you would solve it. And then if you put 12 as the hypotenuse, it changes the problem completely again. So I only did 2 out of the 3 ways that you could solve this problem. So again, the reason why I make these videos is so that you can stop them, rewind them, use them to your advantage. Okay, so this answer for V is going to be 14.15. Okay, you should know if you did these right because remember that V has to be the longest side. So if you get these answers and V is not the longest side, then you did something wrong. Same thing here, V has to be the longest side. So if you did this problem and V did not come out to be the biggest answer, you know you did something wrong. Alright, all I'm going to be checking is that you have this written in your packets. This is page 10. If you do not have this written in your packets, then make sure that you get it from somebody because all I'm doing is a quick run through of this, and then we're going to move on to word problems. Okay? Alright, hope you enjoy your Tuesday, and it's still raining in Southern California.